The alien's blood was thicker than oil. It sprayed across Logan Reeves' forearm as he wrenched the jagged bone shard free from its throat. The creature collapsed at his feet, twitching once before falling still. The arena of eternity erupted into wild, screeching laughter, an ocean of cruel faces hidden behind gold masks and fluttering banners. Logan stood silent, his breathing slow, calculating. He didn't glance at the floating drones capturing every angle of his supposed performance. He didn't need to. Every muscle in his body was already adjusting, scanning, preparing for the next move. The rules of survival hadn't changed. Only the shape of the battlefield had. Above him, high in the gilded skyboxes, the true enemy watched, the Galactic Council, lounging on silk and stone, sipping at shimmering liquids, amused by the suffering of lesser beings. His gaze settled on the largest balcony, where a throne of living vines wrapped around a single figure, Supreme Chancellor Vrex Draven. Logan didn't smile. He just tilted his head slightly, the universal gesture for, I see you. 6 days earlier, he'd been sitting at a cafe in Jakarta, sipping bitter coffee and watching ships rise into the Pacific sky. His leave had been simple. Quiet. Until the black vans rolled up. No insignias. No warnings. Just a sudden crush of bodies, a syringe to the neck, and darkness swallowing everything. When he woke, the first thing he noticed was the absence of sky. The second was the collar around his neck, buzzing low against his skin. Subject Human 97. A voice had crackled. Welcome to the arena. Now, the voice echoed again, booming across the blood-stained sand. Round 1 completed. Human 97 advances. The crowd roared. Not for him. For the promise of more spectacle. From the far gate, another challenger emerged, armor clicking with every step, a Centaurian brute, 8 feet of scaled muscle wielding a blade that shimmered like molten glass. Logan didn't flinch. His mind was already spinning faster than the blade would move. Observe. Predict. Exploit. It had kept him alive through firestorms and black site betrayals. It would keep him alive here. The Centaurian bellowed, charging with a stomp that rattled the arena floor. Logan didn't run. Running was what they expected. Instead, he sidestepped at the last instant, the blade slicing empty air where his torso had been. He slid under the creature's guard, driving the bone shard deep into the exposed joint behind the knee. The Centaurian roared, staggering. Logan ripped the shard free and pivoted up, jamming it into the creature's side, under the arm plate where the armor flexed. The kill wasn't elegant. It wasn't supposed to be. It was necessary. As the Centaurian collapsed, Logan caught a flicker of movement from above. The council members leaned forward, their jeweled eyes narrowing. Good. Let them see. Let them wonder when entertainment would become something worse. A low chime rang out. The arena floor shifted beneath him, panels folding open to reveal new hazards, spiked pillars rising, pits yawning wide. Draven's voice, calm and oily, slithered into the air. Adjustments to increase engagement. Viewer satisfaction metrics demand escalation. Logan's lip twitched. They thought they were still controlling the variables. They thought wrong. He moved with purpose, each step calculated. The environment wasn't a threat, it was an opportunity. Every shifting plate, every hidden trap was another weapon in waiting. His mind ticked through probabilities, cataloging angles and weaknesses. Another gate opened. 2 opponents this time, a twin-headed choke beast and a slithering Arcteron blade dancer. Logan didn't hesitate. Hesitation killed. He darted left, forcing the blade dancer to overcommit. The choke lunged, its head snapping at empty air where Logan had been. He pivoted, grabbing a loose arena chain from the ground, whipping it hard around the Arcturan's wrist. A twist, a pull, the creature stumbled, and Logan drove a knee into its midsection, feeling ribs snap beneath the strike. The choke howled and charged. Logan released the chain, rolling to the side just as the beast's momentum carried it into a jagged spike rising from the sand. One head impaled instantly. The second tried to twist free, but Logan was already there, driving his stolen blade deep into its eye. Silence fell across the arena. A different kind of silence, stunned, pregnant, heavy. Logan straightened, breathing through his nose, slow and steady. Above, Draven leaned back into his living throne, the vines curling tighter around his frame. The speaker crackled again. Unexpected efficiency. Logan finally allowed himself a smile. A thin, wolfish thing. This isn't sport, he muttered under his breath. This is war. Across the arena, a drone swooped closer, its lens glinting. Logan reached down, yanked a throwing spike from the fallen blade dancer's corpse, and flicked it underhand. The spike embedded itself dead center into the drone's lens with a satisfying crack. The machine spiraled, smoke trailing as it crashed into the sand. Gasps rippled through the audience. Logan turned, fixing his gaze back on Draven's balcony. Send better, he growled, knowing the microphone embedded in his collar would catch every word. Or come down here yourself. No more cheers. No more laughter. Only a growing unease, blooming like a bruise in the heart of the council's grandeur. The arena floor shifted again, the sky dimming as heavier gates rumbled open. Logan didn't blink. Didn't breathe harder. He welcomed the next move. Because what the council failed to understand, what every species watching across the stars failed to grasp, was simple. Humans were never the apex predator because of strength. It was because of what we did when backed into a corner. And Logan Reeve had just found his corner. The air in the arena had changed. It wasn't just the weight of blood and sweat clinging to the broken sand. It was the tension, subtle but undeniable, crawling through the ranks of spectators like a whispered warning no one dared to say aloud. Logan Reeve rolled his shoulders, adjusting the leather gauntlet he'd ripped off one of his earlier kills. His fingers flexed around a salvaged short blade, its alien steel rough and unfamiliar but sharp enough to open throats. That was all he needed. From the reinforced gate ahead, a new challenger emerged. No, 3 challengers, their armor gleaming under the artificial suns overhead. Broad-shouldered, long-limbed, bred for this sole purpose, slaughter. Logan's eyes narrowed. No ceremony, no grand announcements. Just bodies. They weren't here to entertain anymore. They were here to bury him. Finally, Logan muttered, voice low enough that only the collar's microphone would catch it. A ripple of unease stirred in the council box high above. They were listening. Good. The trio advanced in a V formation, cautious. Smarter than the last ones. Logan let them think they were corralling him, backing him into a pit he couldn't escape. Step by step, he let them drive him toward one of the arena's hazard zones, a trench riddled with razor-sharp vines. The leader lunged first, swinging a heavy war club designed to shatter bone through brute force. Logan ducked, feeling the weapon graze the air above his scalp. He grabbed the shaft mid-swing, twisted, and used the alien's momentum to hurl him straight into the trench. The vines came alive instantly, wrapping around the flailing body with a wet, meaty sound. One down. The other 2 closed ranks without a word. Trained well. Probably bred not to feel fear. But instincts spoke louder than training. Logan feigned a stumble, drawing the larger one in for a finishing blow. As the brute swung, Logan let himself fall flat to the ground, sliding under the arc of the strike. He drove the short blade up into the alien's exposed underarm, slicing through tendons and arteries in one savage thrust. The creature bellowed, its own weapons slipping from nerveless fingers. Logan kicked the falling body into the last opponent, sending them both crashing down. No mercy. No hesitation. He drove his knee into the stunned alien's throat, crushing cartilage, then finished it with a clean stab through the eye. Logan rose slowly, blood dripping from his hands, chest heaving from the exertion. Across the arena, the audience was silent, a suffocating, disbelieving silence. Above, Chancellor Draven shifted on his throne of living vines. Logan caught it. The nervous tick. The Chancellor's first crack. Logan wiped his blade on the fallen enemy's cape and turned deliberately toward the council box, locking eyes with the unseen cameras. "They're dying faster than you can send them," Logan said coldly, the words transmitted across every broadcast network in the sector. In the control room beneath the arena, technicians scrambled. Orders barked back and forth. New fighters deployed. Environmental hazards activated. The Council's perfect show was unraveling. The arena floor split apart again, revealing steel columns tipped with crackling energy coils. Logan didn't blink. He sprinted toward the nearest pillar, timed his leap perfectly, and vaulted over a river of seething plasma. Behind him, for more combatants swarmed into the open, sleek, cybernetically enhanced, moving in unnatural synchronization. Logan ducked into the maze of pillars, forcing his pursuers to split up. Divide. Weaken. Conquer. The first cyborg rounded a corner too fast. Logan grabbed a broken shard of support strut and jammed it into the circuitry exposed behind its ear. Sparks flew. The body jerked and collapsed. He moved fast, setting traps with scraps of metal, frayed wiring, and arena debris. One slipped on a tripwire, crashing into a coil that fried its internal systems instantly. Another darted after him through the maze, too fast, but Logan had already baited him straight into a corner where a plasma leak hissed from a damaged pipe. A quick shove sent the creature screaming into the blue-white jet of energy. Only one left. This one was smarter. It stayed back, waiting, trying to predict him. Logan didn't give it the chance. He scooped a length of cracked metal cable, wrapped it around his forearm, and flung the loose end toward the creature's feet. As it stumbled, Logan closed the distance in 3 strides, driving the hilt of his blade into the base of its skull with a sharp, decisive crack. Silence again. This time it was different. Not shock. Fear. Logan straightened, wiping sweat from his brow, and let his voice carry once more across the speakers. Not entertainment, he said flatly. A warning. Above, in the council box, discussions turned frantic. Advisors whispered. Strategists gestured at holograms. Draven's knuckles whitened around the arms of his throne. Logan watched, memorizing every tell, every flinch. He wasn't just killing to survive anymore. He was studying them. Learning how fear worked in these so-called gods. And they were failing the test miserably. The arena gates rumbled again. No more gladiators. No single champions. Instead, 8 heavily armored enforcers stomped forward, shock batons crackling, armor bristling with defensive tech. Logan's smile was thin and savage. Finally taking me seriously, he whispered. He knelt briefly, running his hand over the blood-soaked sand. Grains clung to his fingers, warm and wet. Familiar. Just another battlefield, another hellhole with different architecture. He rose, gripping his stolen blade tighter, muscles coiled for violence. The crowd leaned forward. The enforcers charged as one. Logan moved. Not like prey. Not like sport. Like a man who had decided a long time ago that if death was coming, he would drag his killers screaming into the dark with him. The arena of eternity, once the stage for petty amusement, had become something else now. It had become a tomb. And Logan intended to fill it. The enforcers were trained to overwhelm. To crush resistance beneath coordinated brutality. Against anything else, they might have succeeded. Logan wasn't anything else. The first one lunged, baton sparking with enough voltage to drop a rhino. Logan sidestepped cleanly, caught the enforcer's wrist, and twisted. Bones snapped audibly. The weapon clattered to the sand. Logan drove a brutal elbow into the creature's throat, folding it instantly. The others moved fast, smarter now, trying to box him in. Logan kicked the fallen enforcer's weapon across the floor, drawing 2 of the others toward it. He used the distraction, slipping into the blind spot of another, slashing across the power junctions of its armor with precise cuts. The creature spasmed as its systems fried. He fought like a ghost, never where they expected, never where they struck. Every move had a purpose. Every kill a message. Above, in the council box, Chancellor Draven leaned forward, lips tightening. The illusion of control, so carefully maintained for centuries, was slipping with every corpse that hit the sand. Send in the Reapers, Draven hissed into his comms. The technicians froze. My lord! Reapers are for execution, not sport. Draven's eyes gleamed cold. Then call it an execution. Logan finished the last enforcer with a swift, surgical blow, a shard of broken armor driven through the base of the skull. He rose, breathing hard but calm. He heard it then, the heavy thud of the Reapers entering the arena. Unlike the other combatants, these were not bred for show. They were machines of pure death, two-story constructs of armor, steel, and muscle grafts. No soul. No hesitation. No fear. The crowd, sensing the change, shifted in their seats. The mood curdled from excitement to unease. Logan watched them come, assessing. No obvious weak points. Weapons integrated directly into their bodies. Strength enough to tear him apart. Good. He didn't need to beat them. He just needed to break the illusion. As the Reapers advanced, Logan sprinted toward the center of the arena. He wasn't fleeing. He was positioning. He remembered the earlier fights, the traps he'd left behind, pieces of broken hazard plates, exposed conduits, unstable columns. All placed deliberately during the chaos, seeds of destruction waiting to be used. The first Reaper fired a blast from its armed cannon. Logan dove behind a broken energy pillar. The beam struck, causing a chain reaction. Plasma spilled into the sand, setting it alight. Logan moved through the smoke, fast and low, staying ahead of the lumbering giants. He grabbed a length of severed cabling and looped it around a cracked support beam. Another shot fired, hitting the beam dead center. The arena floor buckled. The nearest Reaper staggered as the ground gave way beneath it, plunging into the molten pit below. Its mechanical shriek was lost in the roar of the collapse. One down. Logan didn't celebrate. He moved. The second Reaper charged, swinging a blade the size of a car. Logan baited it, darting past one of the remaining plasma leaks. At the last moment, he slid under the swing, letting the Reaper's momentum carry it through the hazard. The creature's armor melted instantly on contact. It tried to turn, but Logan was already there, jamming a salvaged blade into the exposed actuator joint of its leg. Sparks exploded. The Reaper toppled like a felled tree. 2 down. The third, smarter, more cautious, stayed back, scanning. Logan knew he couldn't trap this one. He had to outfight it. It fired a salvo of mini-missiles. Logan sprinted, weaving through the debris, letting the missiles chase him toward the eastern edge of the arena, where one of the plasma conduits had cracked earlier. He threw himself flat as the missiles hit. The explosion ripped the conduit open, geysering molten death into the air. The shockwave knocked Logan sideways, ears ringing, but when he staggered up, he saw it. The Reaper had taken the blast full force. Its armor sagged, half melted, systems glitching. Logan limped toward it, grimacing through the burn on his shoulder. He ripped a spear from a fallen alien corpse and drove it straight through the Reaper's central processor. It spasmed once. Then fell. Silence. Not all. Not admiration. Terror. Logan turned slowly to face the council box. Blood-smeared, battered but alive. He raised one finger and pointed, not at the arena's next gate. At them. The implication was unmistakable. You're next. Above, Draven's mask of control cracked. He slammed his fists onto the arms of his throne. Cut the feed! He barked. But it was too late. Logan had hijacked the arena's broadcast systems during the chaos, spliced into the main relay. Across hundreds of systems, billions of screens, the galaxy watched as Logan's face filled their view. He spoke, voice low but sharp as a blade. You called this a trial of strength. A test of worth. You weighed humanity, and found us wanting. He stepped forward, broken sand crunching under his boots. You mistook our silence for weakness. Our patience for submission. You forgot the one rule that has ended every empire since the dawn of time. He paused, letting the words hang, thick and deadly. Corner a human, and you'll meet your gods faster than you planned. The signal cut, but the damage was done. Across the stars, fear spread faster than light. Draven stood trembling, fury radiating from him in thick, choking waves. Ready the extraction teams? He snarled. I want him brought to me. Alive. The guards around the council box hesitated. They'd seen the Reapers fall. They weren't sure anymore if numbers would save them. Logan watched them scramble, calculated his next moves. The council thought they'd seen the worst. They hadn't even seen him climb yet. Logan moved through the shattered arena like a predator loosed from a cage. Every step was deliberate. Every breath controlled. High above, the council box loomed, a gilded nest for parasites too soft to feel the ground shift beneath them. He needed a way up. The central support pillars, once decorative, now buckled from the battles, leaned precariously toward the council's tier. Logan sprinted, dodging debris, and scaled the nearest. His fingers dug into the cracks where stone and steel had split under stress. He climbed fast, ignoring the ache in his shoulder, the blood slick on his hands. Below, soldiers poured into the arena, too late to stop the collapse. Above, guards clustered at the balcony, weapons drawn, voices tight with panic. Draven barked orders, but Logan barely heard him. At the edge of the balcony, Logan launched himself over the rail, landing in a crouch between the guards. They hesitated, a fatal mistake. He moved like a storm through them, disarming one with a twist, breaking another's arm with a brutal snap. Blades flashed. Logan dodged, countered, finished. It wasn't a fight. It was a dismantling. In under a minute, only two figures remained upright, Logan and Chancellor Draven. The Chancellor stumbled back, the throne's living vines hissing and coiling in distress. "You can't," Draven began. Logan cut him off with a glance, a slow, ice-cold stare that made words shrivel on the Chancellor's tongue. "You wanted a spectacle," Logan said, voice low. "Let's give them a finale." Across the broadcast system, still partially active despite the technicians' frantic sabotage, the entire galaxy watched. Draven fumbled for a hidden blade at his belt, lunging in desperation. Logan sidestepped easily, caught the Chancellor's wrist, and twisted. The blade clattered to the floor. "You think you're above consequence," Logan continued. "You thought you could cage us like animals. Watch us dance. Bleed." He shoved Draven backward. The Chancellor tripped over a fallen guard's body and hit the marble floor hard. "You never understood," Logan said, approaching step by measured step. "Strength isn't domination. It's endurance. It's memory." Draven tried to crawl away. Logan grabbed him by the collar and hauled him up, forcing the Chancellor to stand on trembling legs. "You built this empire on the backs of those you crushed," Logan said. "It was never going to last." He dragged Draven to the edge of the balcony, holding him there for all to see. Across thousands of worlds, billions watched, silent. Draven's lip trembled. His voice was a broken thing when he spoke. "Spare me. We can negotiate." Logan leaned close, voice cold enough to freeze stars. "You made your offer when you chained me." Without another word, he shoved Draven forward, not over the rail to a dramatic death, but into the dirt of the balcony floor, face down, broken before his own people. The guards, the aides, the officials, none moved to help. None dared. Logan turned to the cameras, his voice cutting through the feed one last time. "This is not conquest," he said. "It's memory." He knelt beside Draven, who whimpered like a wounded animal, and spoke softly enough that only the closest mic caught it. "Earth sends its regards." With that, Logan stood, turned his back on the broken Chancellor, and walked away. No wild declarations. No need for further blood. The silence was heavier than any roar could have been. Behind him, the vines of the living throne slithered around Draven, binding him where he lay, an emperor no longer feared, no longer obeyed. The arena's systems shuddered. Emergency sirens wailed. Ships above the planet fractured into chaos as the Council's grip slipped. Logan moved through the chaos like a ghost, blending into the fleeing crowds, slipping aboard a cargo transport in the confusion. He didn't look back. The message was already sent. The galaxy would remember. It would remember the day a single human stood against gods, and the gods fell.